All right, folks, here we are for another episode of Off the Grid. I wanted to welcome my next guest. She's a dope DJ out of LA County, and it's not because she's my friend. She's really good for real. All right. Hey, I wanted to welcome DJ Puffs. Hey, thank you for taking your weekend and doing this session with me. How are
Oh,
you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. It means so much. I've been watching your video clips and everything, so I'm just so honored to be included in all of this.
Sure, you've been doing your thing, man. It's been fun watching you DJing and just kill it out in LA County. Are you actually in Los Angeles, or are you outside of LA?
Largely in LA, but I am
Okay.
actually born and raised from a town called Monterey Park, which is in the San
Okay.
Gabriel Valley and right adjacent to
Yep.
East LA, actually. But I call Long Beach home. I've called Long Beach home for about 12 years now, but
Okay.
definitely out and about in greater Los Angeles, like on
Okay.
many levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just curious because when I tell folks, I'm from Vacaville. It's a small town outside of Sacramento. I gotta say San Francisco or Sacramento because they don't know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just you are in LA County. Good. Well, hey,
For
how
sure.
long have you been DJing? I wanna start with just kind of like the stuff before you got down and did your thing out in LA. I want to know about it because there was a break. We went to school together, and I didn't know that you were into DJing. I knew you were into hip hop culture, but I know that the DJ part of you didn't happen until you departed Santa Cruz. So how long have you been DJing? And let's talk about
Yeah.
how that happened. What sparked the moment of you wanting to DJ?
Yeah. So actually there's a Santa Cruz connection with so we should talk about how you and I went to UC Santa Cruz together, and that's how we know who
Yeah, let's do that. How
right
do we
there,
meet?
first
How
of
do we
all.
meet?
So we met. So honestly, God, that means I was like 19, 20 when we met,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Because I think I was a year, I mean, I graduated a year before you,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. You're a year older than me. I was brand new.
I was a like a resident assistant, an
Dorm
RA.
police. Dorm police.
I don't
Flex
believe.
flexing on the freshmen. I was like, hella mean. Were you mean? No, I'm just kidding. You weren't mean. But you were flexing that badge though, huh? Just kidding.
No, but we it wasn't for your dorm. It was for the dorm next door to you. So I didn't even
Marta.
have no, Wiesel.
Oh, that's where you stayed at?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was an RA there, and that's how I met you.
Yes.
And like I don't think I really wasn't into I was more of like into like hip hop culture,
Yep.
music, spoken word at the time, that was like late 90s going right into
Yeah.
2000, right? So it was
Yeah.
such a rich era for music, right? And then I always felt that honestly like the Bay Area had much deeper roots in like hip hop
Yeah.
culture,
Sure.
a broader hip hop culture as opposed to, LA was obviously going through their own movement,
Yeah.
with hip hop at the time, right? But I just felt like the Bay had such like it felt like culture, like deeper culture, and it could be
Wow.
just my timing in life and my accessibility to it all, But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, started just loving music,
Okay.
going to all of like the house parties that you and
Yeah.
I like often frequented. Our friends were DJs and had
Yep.
turntables and records and shit, right? And so I think that never left me.
Okay.
Going to, I mean, God, I
Did
was
you
like
did you like rap before getting to Santa Cruz? Or no?
yeah,
You did already.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think like so. I grew up in a household that really played a lot of Motown, a lot of soul funk, a lot
Okay.
of Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, Smokey
Yeah.
Robinson, like, old Temptations, not the My Girl kind of stuff, but like, deep tracks from the beginning of the
Yeah.
Temptations, stuff like that. So I grew up in a musical household that really valued music. And so, it just always stayed with me. And then, in middle school and as a kid, I was really into like 90s R&B, new
Yep.
jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like I made slow jam tapes like you wouldn't believe, right?
I,
Like the
I don't
just
believe you. I don't believe you.
I
You know
did.
do you know why?
Why?
Because I'm waiting for this mixtape because so one time I had a friend named Chris. She promised me a mixtape when she started DJing. I think that was like 10 years ago. I don't think I ever heard it.
I think you're lying. I think it was only 4.
I believe you that you made mixtapes though. I'm sorry. I just had to
I
dig.
I kind of set myself up for that. I like walked
I
like
know. Because I was wondering like how I would squeeze that in. Because I was like, when I was coming up with my questions, where am I gonna give her a hard time about that mixtape I'm waiting for?
you were like this.
Yeah. So I do believe you that you make mixtapes though. All right.
And I
All
will
right.
make you one. Listen, one day it's gonna come to you and you're gonna just be like, oh, I owe
It's a
you a I owe
yeah,
you a
it's gonna be a
Memphis.
promo. I'm gonna make it a promo for the show. So you just promised.
For sure.
I'm gonna manifest it. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So
No,
you
you're
did,
fine.
yeah. I mean, you were super into 90s R&B, hip hop. It was a good time for music, right? 96, 97. And
Yeah.
yeah, we used to go to shows together. There were so many shows, and
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
yeah, your friends Mike and Liz. I mean, you had many other friends, but I remember they were. I think Mike was a DJ too, right? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But like I remember in Santa Cruz, like seeing Common in
yeah,
in 2000, right after he dropped his albums, right? And then
yeah.
like seeing the side and seeing like
Yep.
the extended
KRS-One came when we were kids too,
right. But just
and
even like downtown Santa Cruz pulled some
yeah,
really great, J5 came through.
yep,
I think just, I always had an appreciation for hip hop. It spoke
yeah,
to me. R&B and like, 90s era R&B slow jams, that New Jack era just really always spoke to me. It felt good, in my
yeah,
heart.
sure,
So I think, yeah, so prior to coming to Santa Cruz, I was in the MTV era too,
yeah.
BET era too.
Point.
So came up loving like, Eric B and Rakim and, all of those like classic golden era
But there was
artists.
no interest in becoming a DJ. You were just a fan, and
Yeah.
yeah, you just partook in all those activities, and you were just enjoying the music as is, right?
Yeah. And then so the Santa Cruz connection to this is so then I came back to LA.
Okay,
Um,
right.
right. I stayed an extra year in Santa Cruz because I got my master's and my teaching credentials
Ooh,
in my
right
fifth
on.
year. Yeah, and so then I came down, once I came back down here to teach, I started going to all of these shows, no cancel, and so what happened was I was bumping into one of our fellow Santa Cruz folks, Candace Clark.
Oh,
Um,
wow. She
had a ton
DJ'd
of
for a little bit too, right?
no, she didn't.
You
So
did?
I kept
Okay,
bumping into her at all these shows throughout LA,
okay.
like multiple shows, because I was going at the time, like it was an exciting time for music. Like I remember
Yeah.
catching Kanye on his first tour,
Wow.
for college drop was it? Yeah,
College
college drop.
dropout.
Yeah, so that
Mhm.
tour, it was at the house, tiny place, House of Blues,
Damn.
with an unknown John Legend on the keyboard singing all the time.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so that era was really just a good era for music still, like early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Um, and what happened was I kept bumping into Candace, and she said, "Hey, me and my boyfriend at the time are starting up this DJ school. I remember you always
Okay.
love music. Keep seeing you at all these shows. You should come through. Like, come try take a class." And I was
Okay.
like, "Okay, I can take a class, right?" So I signed up for an intro class where it's just beat matching, and I thought I was just doing it just to try something new, but also to support, right?
Yeah.
And then one class led to another. And
Okay.
in that second class, we had to put together a set at the end of the class. So that school was all the way out on the west side, which was a pretty big commute for me during the week, aside from classes. So I
Okay.
couldn't practice. So what I ended up doing was I ended up buying turntables just to
Wow.
practice at home. And yeah, and I thought I was still just gonna be like a home
Yeah.
DJ, just do it for fun.
Hobbyist, right?
Yeah, like I thought I was just gonna I like buying records at the time, like Serato wasn't out yet. So it was, I was out digging for records. I was playing music, on turntables. It just felt
Wow.
like something like I'd always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I had a friend who was like, "Hey, I have a gig. Do you want to help me?" And then it was a tiny gig, and I just remember not knowing what the hell I was doing. I
Yeah.
was still in classes. Shouts to the Scratch DJ Academy out on
Yeah.
in West. still there. I still have
That was Candace's school then, or
yeah, Candace and DJ Hoppa started it.
oh
And I
wow.
credit, I credit that school with not just starting me as a DJ, but some of the closest and the most beautiful people that I have in my life
Yeah,
are from that school.
that's so dope.
And so many of them are still very active in the DJ community, and have been active for almost 20 years now. So they Scratch really did crank out a lot of DJs who have longevity in the LA
Yeah,
music scene, and it was just a really beautiful thing. So one gig turned into another, turned into another, turned into another.
yeah,
Um, and then here I am almost 20 years later. And I think
yeah.
the craziest thing though is that my biggest gigs have come within the last 3, 4 years.
I know. I I'm going to talk about it too. Where you were the campaign director for LA Mayor Bass's
Yeah,
campaign trail, right? That was major. I want to touch
yeah.
on that a little bit, but I want to know when you first started the school, were you like the only female? Because at the time there were a handful of female DJs. Not really. I didn't really see them too much, but I mean, they weren't unknown, but I mean, still at the time, you didn't really see it. Nowadays, like, I mean, yeah, female, male, it's not irregular to see. So,
Yeah.
were you still a minority at the time? When you were,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay,
Absolutely. So I think in most of my classes, I was most of the time the only woman. Maybe there were two of us.
yeah,
But I definitely like when I was spinning out in LA,
yeah,
there weren't that many of us at the time. And the thing was is that I was just talking about this with somebody actually, like the early 2000s, like
hmm,
in that era, like the women DJs, we all kind of banded together, and
dope,
I got some of my biggest breaks from the women in the scene. And I mean,
sweet,
everybody was just so skilled, and some of them are up in the Bay Area now,
okay,
but just really just incredible DJs who had vision, but we were all
nice,
hustling, and
yeah, yeah,
it was really unusual. Like people were really, I can't tell you, like I would say the majority of the time I would walk into a venue and they would look at me and say, "Oh, where's the DJ for tonight?"
yeah,
You
I
know?
believe it, I believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You're the
yeah.
DJ's girlfriend,
Right. I'm the DJ's
huh?
girlfriend. Oh,
Right?
you're the no, where's the DJ? And I'd be like, I'm the DJ. Oh,
Yeah.
where's it? No, like they were so confused
Not
because
surprised.
there weren't that many women, and then we all killed it, like the girls in the scene at that time,
Yeah,
because we love music, but then
sure.
also there's something different when you learn how to DJ strictly on wax. Your ear is different, I
So
think.
that's what I was going to ask you. I know that you can go back and forth between CDs or digital now, right? But you started as a vinyl DJ, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
tough. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think for anybody who's wanting to learn how to DJ, I think there's so much benefit in learning how to use DJ using wax first. Your ears
yeah,
just, you don't rely on waveforms to beat
the
match.
beat counter and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not anti-technology at all. Like we gotta roll
sure.
with it.
Yeah, because you don't
Uh,
have to carry your wax anymore. But I think I agree. There's probably just yeah, you probably just develop that ear better, right? When you start with wax, right?
Yeah, and like I get it. Most venues don't have turntables anymore, you know.
Yeah,
Everybody's moving towards like CDJs or controllers, right? So it's a
yeah.
different era, but I just think that your ear, fundamentally your ear is different when you learn on wax, you
Okay.
know.
And so how
Um,
long were you at the school before you said, is it a schedule that, hey, after a year you graduate, oh, God bless you, go and go do good things? Or is it kind of just like, hey, I think I'm good enough to go be a DJ? How's that work?
no,
Is it a
I
test?
forget how it all worked. It was like
I'm not
I
sure.
forget.
I don't DJ, so I don't know. You got to school me. Yeah.
I think the way that it worked was God, it was like so long ago. No, each class had like it ran for like it was like a 6 week course,
Okay.
right? And then at
Okay.
the end of every course, you would finish it and then go on to the next, whatever that course was in the progression, right?
Nice.
And so that's kind of how it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just kind of went through the progression, and then there's this one course where it's like you start off in intro, and then you have an intermediate class, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the intermediate class, you're doing a 4-song mix, and then you go on to the next class, and the
Wow.
next class gives you scenarios. So pretend you're opening a set, pretend you are rocking a festival, pretend you
Wow.
are, up in prime time, which is like at midnight, right? What would you play? So things like that. And it was a competition of sorts. So we'd have to put together a 4-song set, bring those records, and play it live, right?
Okay.
And then at the end of class, everybody in the class would give a written critique or would
Wow.
provide critical feedback, which was so great, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
Along
sure.
instructor would give critical feedback, and then at the end of every class they would vote to see who had the best set of the night, and then that
Ooh.
no and then
You're
that
like,
person
fuck
yeah
that bitch.
and
That
then
bitch picked my song, huh? And you wanted to
and then
go
that,
early. You wanted to go earlier, right? So the good songs, you can pick the good songs. Is that right or no?
I didn't get I
Understood.
was like, I'm gonna murder these people wherever they put me, because I'm real
Ooh.
competitive. Yeah, and so I was like, no, the kicker was they voted, and I was like, okay, sold, right? And then, but they were like, and then if you win, you get to sign your name on a board that was up, in the Scratch Academy. So I was like, what? You get to sign your name and put it on a board? I was like, it's over. Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
kill
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Did,
want my name like plus 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 plus. You know what I mean? Like we
was it a scoring system? Like, hey, you get a 5 or 6.
No, it was just like it was feedback at the end, and then no, it was feedback where everybody would go around the circle and say, "This was really great, like what you did. This was great. You might want to let this song ride a little bit more. Your mix point was a little off for
Oh,
this
okay.
song." And then at the end of it all, they would be like, "Okay," everybody would vote who had the best set. You know what I mean? And
Ooh, man.
so everybody would just have to like name it off, and then so
Raise
I
your
was
hand.
always yeah. So no, no, they would say the name. So they would be like, okay, so who do you think had the best set? You
Ooh.
know?
Well,
Yeah, and I
not
was
that
like,
bitch. You say that? No.
I vote for me.
All right, let me put you on the spot. If I had to tell you that you were about to go spin for a 90s party, what 4 songs would you pick right now?
Where am I? Okay, but where am I going? Like a part? Am I? Is it just keeping it hype, party rocking?
Yeah,
Like,
that's,
like
yep,
a general audience? Doesn't matter who it is.
that's right.
I would
Yeah.
I would play songs that might make me crazy, but that most people would like go hard to. So I think I would go with The Choice Is Yours. I would
Ooh, good
go
choice. Black Sheep.
yeah, I would go into this is how we do it.
Montel
Montel Jordan.
Jordan. Oh, I like it.
Even though that song makes me crazy, but it's not my favorite song, but people get hyped to it.
It's a party rocker. Yeah.
It's party rock. I would go into Tony,
Ooh,
Feels
feels good.
Good. Mhm.
Ooh, okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And
What's the
then,
closer? What's the closer?
what would my closer be? God, the closer is always the hardest one. You know what? I do More Money, More Problems.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's good. I like it. You passed.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah,
you care. You start with the.
I do care. I do care. That's the thing. I was like, when you're like, what would you play? I'm like, You know, I'm all
You
serious.
start with the engine number 9. Is that what that part?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it.
And just like,
That's
so it's all the songs that are like super hype, right? Like,
yeah. No,
so yeah.
that's awesome. And that's another thing too, right? So you DJ, you know how to mix, and you got an idea of what you like, but how long did it take you to feel comfortable in terms of being able to control the crowd? So I mean, you got to be always, I mean, are you one that you don't really care and you just play what you want to play because the theme has been broadcasted, or are you trying to somewhat cater to the crowd a little bit?
I mean, I think it depends. It depends on what I'm
Yeah,
booked for. So
yeah.
if I'm booked for like Sephora is a returning client of mine. So like I do their holiday
Sephora,
party.
the makeup.
So if they call
Damn, look at that.
yeah. So like last year I did and it was so dope because I flew up to San Francisco to run their party, their holiday
Wow,
party, right? And it was a 90s event. So I played all 90s,
wow, that's so dope.
And yeah, it was, and so it depends on what I'm booked for. If I'm doing galas and like in LA, the LA 84 Foundation has been an amazing partner of mine. And
Yeah.
they're a big nonprofit here. So they wanted a party that celebrated the 84 Olympics because
Oh,
that's how
sick.
they were
Out in
born.
LA.
So they funded nothing but 84 music from 1984, right? So I think it depends on what I'm being booked for. According to
Yeah.
the Pacific, Long Beach has been a really gracious returning client of mine, and
Yeah.
like for them, I go more pop, right? Because that's
Oh, sure.
more of a general audience. So I think it depends on the gig, and I
Yeah.
think it depends on where I'm at. If I'm playing at one of my favorite places to play is a shortstop in Echo Park, which is down the street from Dodger Stadium. I'll be there in a
Okay.
couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
That place, it's reading the crowd, and like
Yeah.
I get a high when I have everybody going,
I
like and
bet.
thing. So the last time I was there a few weeks ago, LA has really rallied around Kendrick's Not Like Us.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Holy cow. Did you go? You went to the show, right? Did you go to the
I did
surprise
the
show?
pop-up. I did.
Damn, that was crazy. Huh?
Uh, like I mean, I had to decompress a little bit after that show because
Yeah.
so many layers to it. Like it wasn't just about this diss track. It really wasn't. It
No.
was triumphant, and it was rooted in love.
Yeah.
It was a joyous thing. So like everybody at that show was joyous. Like people would just
Yeah.
randomly hug each other. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's
Like
awesome.
it was something that people felt so proud about. It's like
Yeah.
Kendrick brought us along with him.
Yeah.
And hometown hero type shit, right? And then just the elevation of Black culture, LA Black culture. It was just so
Yeah.
unapologetic, beautiful,
Yeah, and
right?
it was it not announced? Was it just a surprise announcement on how did you
It
guys find
was
out about the show?
through he made an Instagram post,
Okay.
and then it was like tickets were on sale, boom, right? And it
Wow.
went. I mean, it was a pretty sudden. It was like just a few days notice before the tickets went on sale.
Yeah. And it was a one day thing. It wasn't like he played multiple shows, right? He just did
Right?
one night. Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But like the first, so I knew LA was wanting to hear that, at the last time I played the shortstop. So it's like reading what is going to play, because you know what, like if I just play strictly what I want to play, sometimes
Yeah.
that's going to clear a dance floor. Like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I want to sometimes, like, I want to hear like throwback shit from when we went to school, like Goody
Yeah.
Mods Beautiful Skin. That shit will clear a dance floor,
Yeah.
like I love it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people are coming there for a vibe. So like I read, and I always sneak in some of my stuff, but the golden rules when I'm at a club, I play for what the girls dance to.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's fair enough.
The girls dance, then everybody dances, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That is a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, that's golden rule. If you're party rocking, like I'm always like reading what the girls are moving to. So I'll watch the room the whole time, and I
Mhm.
watch who's starting to move. And as I see them starting to move, I'm like, okay, I got them. This is the
Mm.
lane they want to go in. So then I keep
Yeah.
going. I figure out I feel like I'm fishing. Like I feel like I'm throwing out a line and I'm like, I'm gonna get them.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I'll keep trying and I'll keep trying, but like people don't understand with DJing too. It's not like it's like a lot of times they're like, "Oh, that sounds like so much fun. What a fun hobby." And I'm just
Yeah. Mm.
like if
Right.
you're party rocking, I'm thinking like 5 songs ahead at all times. So I have
Yeah.
it in my I'm thinking 5 songs ahead, and then I also have about 3 songs in the back of my head that I
Mhm.
know if I throw it on, it's an immediate save. So that if I try something and it clears the floor, I know a song that is going to get them all back, right?
Yeah, and so do
So
you have a base set list kind of before you come to a show or not really? You know
sometimes
what you're gonna play. Yeah.
Sometimes I do, like and even then, it's just a general framework. It's like a skeleton. So I
Okay. Yeah,
know
yeah.
songs will trigger me to monkey bar in a or to go into a certain direction. And
Yeah.
sometimes also gives that reminder, oh yeah, if I go here, then I like to go here.
Yeah.
Also like to keep things pretty loose. Like I don't like to just stick to playlists because
Sure.
you don't know what direction you're gonna go in.
That's
You
right.
know, I have a monthly Sunday party called Libre, which is
Okay.
with DJ Patrick, who actually
Right.
right, who from Native Guns, and is just an incredible human. And that party is all our music, like whatever we want to play,
That's
and
dope.
sound good.
Yeah.
So
And how
I
long are you playing for? Like, are you playing for just what's the rule of thumb? After an hour, DJ gets a break. What's the rule? What's the rule? I don't
for
know.
Libre, we like to do every 30 minutes
Oh, okay.
just to keep the vibe tight and like or like flowing, I should say.
Yeah.
And
And how
then
long is the party?
we go from 3 to 9.
Damn. Oh, fucking party.
Yeah, it's a day party because
Yeah.
none of us want to be out late anymore, man. We want to be home
No,
by
I
like
know. Do you take a nap in between? I would take a nap in between.
in my car. I'm like,
That is so awesome. And what is the venue for Libre?
It's at the airliner in LA, which is a
Yeah,
historic spot.
yeah,
We used to have there used to be a party in LA called, Low End Theory that had so many hip hop nights there.
dude, I'm
Great hip.
going. I'll be in LA in February. I'm going.
Oh, yeah, like you should come through. The music is just
Yeah,
like you just never know where we're gonna go.
I love it. No, that sounds
Yeah.
like a fun thing. I know you're all over the place in LA, and it's not too hard to get a gig. But I imagine in the beginning it was probably hard to find a gig, right? Maybe before you established your credentials and resume. How hard was it
It
to
was
find a party?
It was, a lot of it was it just the magic of finding the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
Always need to shout out I always need to shout out DJ Lady Shaw, who is still in the game and killing it. But she
Who
was
is
one of
this? Can you say the name again? I'm sorry.
her name's DJ Lady Shaw.
Okay.
Um, and so she was killing it up in the game. She was killing it in LA. She started this women's collective called Lioness Los
Okay.
Angeles, and then she threw her own parties. And we played at some big spots, but
Yeah.
she had only women DJs coming up, and
Oh,
so
that's dope.
introduced me to a lot of people. She also recommended me to a lot of people. And so I was able got a recommendation through her
Yep.
um, to meet another DJ friend of mine, Anthony Valadez, who I
Yep.
had a 3-year every Saturday residency at this iconic spot called Little Temple in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And, and the owners of Little Temple also owned a spot called Zanzibar and Temple Bar. And you'll hear people like John Legend think, when they talk
Yeah.
about spots in LA that broke them, Temple Bar comes up. Bruno Mars played Temple Bar, and
Oh,
Anderson
dope.
.Paak, and then would come through Zanzibar. So just really rooted in a lot of like LA music history. But
Cool.
it just happened to be DJ Lady Shaw really gave me my first break,
Oh, it's,
put me into the spotlight so I could meet these other folks. And then from there, it's just, I always tell younger DJs or DJs who are coming up, build those relationships and make
yeah.
them real so that they're not just transactional. You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, that's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come out and support people just because you want a gig. Like,
Yeah.
come support people because you actually want to build community,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
um, I feel like that's how we all moved.
Yeah.
We genuinely were looking to bring people up together, and there's room for everybody to shine. Like, so
That's
nobody
right.
felt like we weren't competing with each other, right? Like, so like when if Lady Shaw landed a big gig, I was like, kill it, get that shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it wasn't like that should have been mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, yeah. So I think that was the spirit of it. And so just through all of the relationship building is how I was able to move on to get other gigs, right? And
No,
then
that's
you
awesome.
just never like I had almost 10 years of a relationship with the CW network here. So the CW network would hire me to come out and do some of their big events.
Yeah.
And they heard me because I did a free in-store. I was DJing a free in-store at this little boutique across the street from the Beverly Center.
Oh,
And
crazy.
yeah, and one of their events, one of their events, like presidents or whatever the title was, um, heard me and walked across the street and said, "Hey, I like what you're playing. Would you be willing to come do a gig with the CW network?"
Oh,
Right?
that's so awesome.
Yeah, and so that put me into
It,
another
it
era of
expanded the network. Yeah.
but corporate gigs, right?
Yeah.
And gigs with like these high-end events production companies that would look for DJs. So it
Yeah.
also taught me how to move differently
Yeah.
business-wise. And I think that's the other thing that I always focus on too, is that I still, I really do operate as a business,
Yeah.
with every interaction is carefully thought about, you know what I mean? Returning invoices on time, making sure that turnaround is good. So I think that's the other part that has added to my
Yeah.
longevity. I make it really easy for people to book me and work with me.
No, that's awesome. And you hit a couple things that I want to discuss. One was in terms of building the network. Opportunities come. You just never know, right? Timing is, I think, key in a lot of people's success. So, yeah. So I think I like what you said about building the network and not making it transactional. And you're right. Like, there's no need to be, my friend because you want to jump on a song or you want a
Because
gig.
I mean,
I love it. It's support.
you see it too, right? And the thing is that
Yeah.
you've been in the game a long time too as an MC. Like you can tell when people are trying to get to know you just because they want to level up, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you're so I love that about you. And then another thing that you mentioned too is that, hey, there were people who took care of you. And so I always find mentorship very important too. So I love how you mentioned you were talking to the younger DJs and telling them how to move or making recommendations, advising. So I'm super into that because I agree with you. I always say there's always a lot of room at the lunch table and there's no need to leave people out, right? And so
Oh,
yeah, yeah, whether it's beginning or expert level, man, we gotta take care of each other. If you're doing something
you're
good, I'm all
yeah.
about it, man. So yeah, I love that about you. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, hey, do you recall? So you're not your gigs now are not vinyl. I mean, you're not bringing vinyl anymore, right? It's all digital, right? So yeah. So where? I mean, do you just how does that work now? You just download the songs and you just buy them off. Like how does that work now? Because
Yeah, there's some gigs. I did a gig for the art form studio here in LA, that was all wax, but I feel like those are more like I don't want to. Those are more niche, right? Like
yeah.
there's been a resurgence of like vinyl and wax,
Oh
so
yeah.
definitely more gigs that want where you could play all records and
Yeah.
it works fine.
I'm gonna do
Uh,
7 inches. Them 12 inches are heavy, man.
Dude, I don't miss it. I don't miss carrying like crates of
Yeah.
records, man. That was
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you like talk about liberation. When I
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was able to just like I was like bring a backpack. I was like, what is this? You know? Like,
So that's funny. Did it feel wrong at first? I know you are in two generations of DJing. So when like I remember too, it's like I would have my DJ friends like, nah, I'm never gonna do CD DJs or MP3s, and then now here they are doing Serato and stuff like that. But did it
yeah,
feel wrong at first as you
yeah,
transitioned from vinyl to digital?
yeah. It absolutely did. In fact, I remember being a very late. I would transition late.
Oh,
Um,
oh, right, right.
because I was also it wasn't comfortable for me, right? So I remember I had a couple of gigs that or the thing is though is what was revolutionary was if you could bring a laptop, you had so much more music to pull
That's
from,
true.
right? And so I remember I had these gigs, big gigs. Like one of them was for a Maserati unveiling, right? Of a new vehicle, right?
Damn.
Yeah, and so some of those songs that they wanted, I
Uh-huh.
couldn't find on a record, right?
Oh, good point.
So they wanted specific music, and what they wanted to do was to send me the MP3 file to play it. So I was like, I'm not on Serato yet. So I remember, and this is where the network came in. I think it was DJ Rel who I started spinning with too. He came with me to that gig,
Okay.
and I used his laptop because we could put the music on his laptop,
Gotcha.
right? And then we went, and it was at a time too when I wasn't confident that I could do I mean, this was like a Maserati gig, like where you have the Maserati under a sheet, and when
Yeah.
it's reveal time, it's like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it was like a big production, right? So
I know.
I was supposed to play the music
Yeah.
to as they pulled it up. So I was like, shit, yeah, so I would often ask my other DJ friends to come with me in case anything went wrong, we could
Yeah.
then trouble together, and
Well,
still
what
to
was the song? What did they want you to play? What does one play at a Maserati unveiling? This
so
is
what they wanted to pull off at the time, this is why it's wild how what I can remember because this is easily almost like 15 years ago.
yeah, sure.
Uh, this was what they wanted was what was that song? Oh, what it was a TV show on HBO with Adrian Grenier, the three guys. God, I'm so stupid. What is the
Was it
Matt
like
with
was it the theme music to the show?
yeah.
Oh
Uh, it
God.
was like it was with Ari, the character Ari, and do you remember? It was like
Yeah,
they were all in Hollywood.
I
God,
do. It's like the
oh,
three. It was like five guys, right? It was like I know what you mean though. I can't remember the name though. Yeah.
so
I forgot.
uh, Adrian. His name was Adrian. I'm totally looking it up. It was Entourage. Entourage.
Entourage. Okay.
They wanted the Entourage theme
Okay.
song as it came off because Entourage was a hot show at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. But yeah, like it was crazy. And then once I got used to it,
Yeah. Then it was you were
but I would
transitioning with times. Yeah.
but then I would always carry a few records with me because at the time I still didn't feel confident. And then, you're still beholden to your laptop working. I
Yeah.
actually remember I had a gig where my laptop died mid-set.
Oh,
It was like a benefit set where everybody, every D like, there were these big DJs in LA where it's called Thanksgivings. All of us had like a 15 to 20-minute set.
okay.
My laptop, I was up at like 12:30, which is like the peak night,
Gee,
yeah, peak
yeah.
time at night. And my laptop died as I was just about to, I mean, like the energy was, they were with me, right? And
Oh man.
I was just like, fuck, you know? And so luckily somebody got on the mic and was just kind of like keeping the crowd engaged. And I was just
Okay.
like, I guess I got to go with my wax. And I just remember, thank God I had like, I think I brought like 4 comp albums with me. So that means that on each album had like 5 tracks I could play. So I bought time.
Wow.
Yeah. And nobody knew that my laptop died except for me. And I
That
just would
is
save it,
nuts.
save it. But thank God I knew how to be on wax. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Good point.
yeah, so I think that's like that was that, and even now, like everybody's on CDJs, I'm still, I feel like I'm reluctant to let go of turntables,
Yeah. No, I think that's always good. Those are like I almost make that comparison to folks who drive automatic, and then you're like, hey, you gotta drive stick shift now. I'm like, oh yeah. But it's good to always it's always good to know how to drive stick shift, right? So
I know I had a stick, like I know how to drive a stick. We stay
so
versatile around here. I think that's some of it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
recently finally made the move over to getting a controller.
Okay.
And so that's been different too. But just
Yeah.
with technology, the way technology goes,
Yeah,
it's all
it's there to make your life easy, and it's hey, that's just the way that it goes, right? Hip hop changes and things get easier, and so I mean, it was
yeah.
just awesome that you got to be a part of what the original art of DJing was like.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm so grateful that I came in at the time that I did
yeah,
because,
it's a good time.
it's shit. I mean, we were so lucky to be in that era, our
Yeah.
age in that
Oh,
era.
perfect for hip hop.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
it's
good.
unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
we came in, like I marvel at it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and the community at Santa Cruz at the time, right? It was very welcoming, it was diverse, and just everybody was from everywhere sharing whatever, East Coast, West Coast, down
Yeah.
south. It was just good. It was very educational for me because I was living in Japan. That was the first time I
That's
moved to the United States. I knew nothing about underground hip hop, and so it was just a great place to learn and hang out and be with people. I started rhyming, and then just it was the environment was very welcoming and just
yeah.
nurturing and like, yeah, go for it. Ah, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and just it was great. And do you still buy wax or no?
Oh yeah. I love buying wax.
Really?
Oh yeah. Thank you for giving me that record, the last time I saw you. That was
Wow,
pretty dope.
absolutely. I had to make sure something's in that collection. It's right behind you, right? That wax collection. I love it. Hey, so
Yeah.
where are you going to? Are you going to is it Amoeba? Is Amoeba still around? I think so, right?
Uh yeah, Amoeba, it just depends. Like I like digging local. So in Long Beach there's a few local record
Yeah.
shops.
They're starting to get expensive. Like they're getting smart on vinyl. Oh, maybe they've been smart, but just I remember
Yeah.
use records. It was always fun to dig, but man, sometimes some of these record spots over here in Hawaii are overpriced, man. I'm like, wow,
Yeah, like I mean, I went digging in Hawaii when I was out there.
you
I
did.
went to
Where'd you
yeah,
go?
I did Hungry was it Hungry Ear?
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. By in Kakako. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
there yesterday.
Yeah, I love that shop. I love
Space,
that
yeah,
shop.
spot's good. Yeah,
Yeah, I went to Hungry Ear.
but you probably buy everything though, right? Mix of music, not
I
just
mean,
hip
I
hop,
think
right?
in Hungry Ear, I found this incredible Harry Belafonte album. Like
Wow.
a live album that he recorded at the Greek Theater out here in LA. Found that in
Super
Honolulu,
cool.
like Kakao, right? Like I was just like, that's wild. My
Yeah.
favorite thing to do actually is to dig. Whenever I'm out of town, is to find
Yeah.
record shops to dig in. When I was in Brooklyn last November,
Okay.
and all I wanted to do was to dig for records. That's all I did.
How was
You
that?
know,
How'd you do out there? Was it a good haul?
it was dope. Like I
Yeah.
picked up all this like Afro-Cuban jazz, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so you never know what you can find. You just gotta be willing to dig.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, and I love
Yeah,
everything you're doing, man. It's just been fun to watch you from who we were at college and then just transition to an amazing person and you're doing big things. Super proud of you.
oh,
Yeah,
proud of
yeah,
you
yeah.
too.
Just like, at some point I'll get a mixtape, but you know, I won't hold it against you. Yeah.
Oh, like,
Uh,
yeah, it's coming. It's
no.
coming.
Yeah, you're doing. And so and so we talked about it earlier, but yeah, you're doing big things, all the major venues, and you're moving different. But I wanted to bring up your time as serving as LA Mayor Karen Bass's campaign music director and DJ when she was on the trail.
Yeah.
Like, how did that work? How did the invite come? And how was that? How did that work? What was your daily work experience like doing that?
Yeah, so that was probably one of the best, like, I wanna say that was, like, one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. Like, that was, like, I don't know that I mean, that was, like, a game changer, you know? That was
Yeah,
something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
dude, that's like a big flex, super big, double arm flex.
I mean, yeah, I'll walk us through it, but I think particularly now that Kamala Harris is running for
Okay.
president,
Yeah.
um, you know, it kind of it blows my mind. So let me go backwards a little bit further back with that.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in a very active, politically active, social justice organizing
Yeah.
household. My parents were community activists and community organizers, and so it's very much aligned with, you know, you know, in Santa Cruz, I was a student organizer, right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
so yeah, so that's kind of also a big part of my identity. And so when it was announced that she was going to run, I got a phone call from a woman named Joanne Kim, who was just brilliant, and really just ran a master class on how to community organize and get people energized,
Wow.
to build community and to be out and to knock doors and to do all kinds of things. I mean, we really took down a giant. I mean, we were outspent $11 to 1. Like, we took
Wow.
down a yeah, like, we took down a billionaire. And the thing is that there was no ego involved,
Yeah.
for the collective. The thing about campaigns is they're a grind, and it's exhausting, but it's also it's like, you know you're doing something for the greater good,
Yeah.
and you know you're fighting to make LA a more just place for everybody. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it just felt good to be a part of, because in those spaces and in the campaign headquarter offices, it was multi-generational, it was multi-ethnic, everybody mattered, you know, like, everybody, "How are you doing today?" And it was just such it was community at it in its most, like, pure form.
Amazing.
You know, it makes you believe in the good in people, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then to be asked to play music, right? To provide the soundtrack for the campaign, and Karen did this bus tour where she went to every part of LA County, and LA County's or Los Angeles, and it's massive,
Huge. Yeah.
huge. So she made multiple stops from Van Nuys all the way out to San Pedro, K-Town, like all over LA.
Dude,
And
that's
so
dope.
yeah, and so I was tasked with finding DJs who could be at each stop, right? And so I think that part too was being able to bring other, progressive, like-minded
Yeah.
DJs in the mix because, Karen is easily the most progressive mayor we've ever had.
Oh, oh,
So,
awesome.
you know, being there every weekend, right? And then as election night got closer, multiple events throughout the week, fundraising. I also was went out to Boyle Heights, which is closer to the east side where I grew up,
Yeah.
um, and helped there a little bit just on some community outreach, supporting the campaign office that was out there.
Yeah.
So, extended beyond just DJing. And then at the end, towards the end for the inauguration, I was part of the inauguration planning team,
Okay.
uh, which was wild, because the consideration we took into that was making sure that we understood how to navigate. Part of it was understanding how to navigate when Vice President Harris came into town, because Vice President Harris swore Karen in, right?
Man, that is so wild. Yeah.
No, like and I mean, I just remember, first of all, I was at Microsoft Theater, right, which is in LA Live, which is across the street from Staples Center,
Yep.
right? I've been to Microsoft Theater so many times to see concerts. In fact, 5 days or a few days after the inauguration, less than a week after the inauguration, I was at Microsoft Theater watching Stevie Wonder, right? So like for 5 days prior, I was DJing, I was in front of that stage.
So awesome.
I was in front of the stage, there's nobody in front of me watching Vice President Harris come out and swear Mayor Bassin, like that shit's wild. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like Amanda Gorman, the poet, is sitting in front of me, getting up and starting the electric slide, right? To Stevie
That's
Wonder singing on stage. And I'm there
that's
like, no, no, you know what I'm saying? And so
yeah.
like just the history of it all.
Yeah.
And then just how hard we all worked to make it happen. It really felt like it was like a collective win. And it was like the good guys won. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't even describe it. But then,
Yeah.
knowing we had our governor in the front seat, we had, the night before we had to be at Microsoft or at Microsoft Theater because we needed to understand how to move,
Yeah.
from
Security stuff too, right? Yeah.
service, right? I mean, I already kind of told you about this when you're in Hawaii, and you were like, "Oh yeah," you were like, "Oh yeah," like they take that seriously,
Super tight.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. You
yeah.
got major people in there, so yeah. I
No, so
completely
they were,
understand.
yeah, they were telling us, and I just remember it was like when you get a signal, don't, or when she's moving, they have to keep a certain perimeter around her, right? And they were like, if you break that perimeter,
Yeah.
you will be taken down, like in no, like they didn't mince their words. They were, and
Yeah.
because people were like, well, there's a lot of movement that has to happen on the stage to get things set up for the next person. They were like,
Right.
well, freeze, we mean freeze. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
For
so I
sure.
think things that, like, I mean, it's fascinating to me though, but I think to myself, I'm like, DJing got me to see this. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
That's yeah. That's true.
like it's wild, right? Like DJing got me to see this. Like I was, I played the inauguration of the first woman mayor of the city of Los Angeles.
So
Like
amazing. Yeah.
at one point, I just stood there and like it hit me, and I just started to cry because it was like I felt the enormity of the legacy and then
Yeah.
just the historical moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I played the music through it all, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
A-
saying?
And the
Yeah,
photos, I mean, the photos didn't do it justice, but I mean, I knew the grand scale of the event just seeing it. And so that's why I had to bring it up and talk to you about it. I just thought
it
that was
was,
super major. And yeah, it was amazing.
oh, it was major, and
Yeah.
it was like friends hitting me up saying like, "Dude, we see you on the news," because I was playing in
Huge.
between all of the, and they were shooting live, so I was playing in between everything. And the thing is that was wild was they had they had comms in my ear. So,
Oh,
for DJing, you have a headphone on because you're listening to what you're queuing up your next song. So you
right.
have music in one ear, and then they put me in comms on the other ear. So on the other ear, I was listening to all of the chatter that was going
Oh,
on backstage.
that's
So when I
crazy.
first, right? No, so when
Yeah.
I first put both on, I I thought my head was gonna explode because there was so much literally noise in my head,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as I'm playing and queuing up music, right, and beat matching and, like, trying to do all those things,
Yeah.
right? I'm also they said, "You need to make sure you listen. When we call you, we're gonna give you directions on when to pull out or, fade the music out or how much longer to keep playing," and the whole time, I'm in my cue ear, but then I'm
Yeah.
also being responsive to
Yeah.
them.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so but see, like, this is where I'm like, this is where experience comes into play, and
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
where
In this high stress environment, you were the
nobody
person. Yeah.
nobody warned me. They were just like, "Here, put these on." And I was like, "Okay," like, yeah,
Just kidding.
right? Yeah, and then, just being able to move and, we thought that, when they give you a run a show on how things are gonna run,
Yeah.
uh you have to be ready to keep going. And like there were times where they were like, keep playing, but so and so's late, we're running late, keep everybody active, keep the crowd loose. And so
Yeah.
sure enough, like the coolest thing, a cool thing after that too was on Twitter, there was an elected official in California who tweeted, Mayor Bass, your first order of business should be to release the playlist. Um,
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to the DJ.
and they were like that, and your DJ should be put on staff, right?
Oh, that's so
And you
awesome.
saw other people kind of chime in and say that was like said, the LA Times wrote about the music selections that were played
That's great.
for the inauguration because I really wanted to, yes, we wanted everybody to lean in. So the music was a mix of old, new, I threw in
Yeah.
some Latin, I threw in a little bit of everything, right? But I also wanted to also showcase and highlight this like moment of Black excellence too,
Yeah.
because That's a big deal. You know
It
what I'm
is
saying?
absolutely a big deal.
Like, if we love hip hop culture, we have to be unapologetic in elevating, Black history, Black
Yeah,
excellence, all
yeah.
of it,
You
because
can't just support the music. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
everything that comes with it. You got to be a supporter, hundred
But you
percent.
feel me on this, right?
I do. You can't be halfway into it and not love
Yeah.
Black culture in general. Absolutely, 100.
Or or the like,
Yeah,
and it's nuanced, right? Like, I'm not Black, but I am definitely supportive and do what I can and want to learn,
that's
you
right.
know, and to honor it and to respect it because I'm able to I enjoy so much of it, right?
Yeah, in a culture that embraced me in whatever capacity, right? So it's only right, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so I used they wanted the thing that I would always do is play walk-up music or play music as people were exiting, so there was never any dead air, right?
wow.
Because
And
that
how long
really
was that? How long was that party?
it was geez, that I was there at 7 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
because we also needed a sound check, but then we also needed enough time because Secret Service had to do a sweep
right.
of the after everybody was in, they had to do another sweep of the areas and then we had to come back in, right?
Yep.
But I don't think the show didn't start till like noon,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah,
So
a lot of
I
prep
was
time
there.
for events like that. For sure.
Yeah, so I would just but playing like piano blends and someone noted in the LA Times that there were like Afro beats playing as a kind of it felt like an homage to like, the significance, right? Of what this was as our first Black woman mayor, of Los
Such
Angeles.
a amazing experience, especially for a good person like yourself. That's so awesome. Yeah, major
I
victory.
still can't, huh?
Major victory for you.
Oh, like, I still can't believe it, like, and I
Yeah,
don't take anything for granted, like, I'm just always just so grateful, and I think that's what carries me and what has brought me longevity is, like, I don't take any of it for granted, man, like,
yeah. You
everything
can.
I am so grateful, like,
Yeah,
and I let I send thank you notes, and I send thank you texts
yeah.
after every event because I'm so grateful, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's just
I can still like remember. I don't know about you for you. I'm with you. I'm super grateful, and I'll never forget like day one, day two experience of like my time as an MC and still trying and being horrible, and I'll never forget that. That's why I'm just so humble and thankful for everything I've gotten to do and just the network I've created and just yeah, yeah, I feel you. So I know what you mean.
how do you feel like you've achieved your longevity? Because you've been doing this for a minute too.
Yeah, I mean, I took a break though, right? So I did it for a number of years after college, and then there was a long period that I just stopped doing music. I think it was probably like 8 or 9 years where I stopped doing music like flat out. I still listen to music, but I didn't stay in touch with anyone, and just was busy just doing life stuff and trying to establish myself. And then it
Yeah.
wasn't until like right before COVID hit, I got an invitation from a friend who was still in the music game, and it just kind of sparked the interest. And so I think just remembering what it was like to make music and how much I love doing it
Yeah.
re-sparked the interest. So I'm at a point where I'm not chasing anything. I just get to
Yeah.
make music for fun. Have some cool friends and good friends that I do it with, and I'll do it
Yeah.
95, 95, 96, something like that.
But,
So,
like but isn't it cool though, like, how you took a little bit of a break? I dipped out for maybe a few years too, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it was a shitty relationship, right? But, like, I dipped out, just life happens, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I ever fully left it, but
Right.
I took a dip for a few years, right?
Okay.
But isn't it beautiful though, like, how the scene welcomed you back?
Yes.
Isn't that
Absolutely.
like I think that's the most beautiful part and where I don't take any of this for granted because
Yeah.
I feel like this scene has always welcomed me back when I needed them the most, you know?
Yeah. That's a
Like
good point.
like music has always done that. Music has always like when I needed something to hold on to again or community, like boy, I mean, everybody just has come through. So like it really is heartwarming for me to hear that you've had the similar experience. Like, you
Yeah.
took a break and you came back and people welcomed you and were probably like, "Where have you been?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I
Right?
heard. And so, I mean, yeah, you're right. And it just, yeah, it's been great. So I've been on a rampage, just trying to make as much music as I can. So yeah, that's
And you're so
awesome.
talented at it. You're so
Oh,
good
thank
at
you.
it.
Thank you. Santa
So
Cruz, my
good.
friends in Santa Cruz, man. It's all
Hey,
all because of you. That dorm
good
police, I
things,
couldn't
good,
go.
yeah, good things come out of Santa Cruz, man.
Yeah, dorm police. I had a tough dorm police person, so I couldn't go out. Couldn't go
It
out and
wasn't me.
party. I couldn't go party. I just had to make music. So
It was.
that's no, it was good times. Did you experiment with any other element of hip hop? Was it just purely DJing, or did you try
No,
MCing or graffiti or b-girling at all?
no, it was purely hip. It was purely DJing.
Yeah,
It was the
that's awesome.
music. It was the music that spoke. I appreciated all the other elements,
Yeah,
but I feel like music has been my lifeline, is what I tell people. Like I need music to breathe, you know.
yeah,
And so, hip hop culture and hip hop music and hip
yeah,
hop adjacent music has always been, part of me.
yeah. It's so good. I'm so thankful that you're allowing me to share your story and just catch up on everything that I didn't know in between. It's so dope. And so
Yeah.
with that, I like to end the interview with some fun questions, right?
All
Good,
right.
lighthearted questions, right? So try to catch you off guard. I'm gonna give you some softballs real quick. All right, what is yeah, I love jokes, messing around. Hey, what I'm gonna see what your sense of humor is like. What is DJ Puff's favorite comedy movie of all time? If not favorite of
Favorite
all time, something you watch a lot.
favorite you know what's funny is I like this is where you're already laughing because I don't even know because I'm not a big movie person. So
Oh,
like
you're not. Okay.
comedy movie,
Okay. What about
I told
comedian? Favorite
I love
comedian?
Dave Chappelle.
Ah, he's good.
I love Chris Rock.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I love the storytellers. I love
yeah.
what Ronnie Chang. Ronnie is
Yeah,
his
Ronnie
last name.
Chang. Yep.
I love Ronnie Chang. So I do love comedians, but
Yeah, Dave Chappelle's awesome.
you know what it is? It's storytelling. And I think all of the good comedians, they
Yep.
also come from a place of pain, and
Yeah.
a place there's darkness, right? And I was just talking to one of my friends who's an artist about how like the darkness isn't something to be afraid of or to not acknowledge. Like the darkness is where strength comes from and
Yeah.
resilience.
And you teach, you mentor, you share your experience, and
Yeah,
people can use that to learn. Yeah,
it's part of the journey, right?
I agree. Okay.
Yeah. So
Hey,
Dave Chappelle, yeah.
that is a good answer. All right. All right. Here's another one. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. Best
All right.
actor that played Batman.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Woo! That was my pick too. That was my pick. Do you remember everybody that played Batman?
Huh?
Do you remember everybody that played Batman or a couple of them?
Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it Val Kilmer?
Yep. Yep. Oh, you're doing well. I was like when I was coming up with that question, I was like, I had to Google it. I said, oh, there's more people than I thought.
Is that
Pretty
it?
good.
No.
Oh, there's Ben Affleck. He
See,
played the
that's
last
not a bad.
Batman.
Oh,
Huh?
see, clearly I didn't watch that one because I
Yeah.
was like,
George Clooney. Did you say Clooney?
no.
Ah, you did. And Robert Pattinson. Twilight dude.
See, they lost me on that.
Yeah,
I
Mike
actually,
Mike Keaton. That's a good answer.
I think Michael Keaton was excellent. I also really like Christian Bale as Batman too.
Mm, mm,
So those two, yeah.
yeah, Keaton was good. Oh, yeah,
Agree.
number two, I'm not sure. I think what's stuck on him. Okay. All right, let's see. What is DJ Puff's favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal, honey. Oh no, Special K with berries.
Oh man, that's too healthy, dude. It's too healthy. All right. It's good. It's good. Okay, hey, it's all about health. Health as well. I concur.
You're like
Yeah.
boo.
I was like looking for Fruit Loops, Rice
I
Krispies.
like Cocoa Krispies.
Okay.
I'll murder Cocoa Krispies.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. I like Cocoa Pebbles or Fruity Pebbles.
Cocoa.
Ooh, okay. All right, I'm fruity. I like that one. Okay. All right, and you're ethnically Japanese. Is that correct? 100%. All right.
Yes.
Favorite Japanese dish.
Shabu shabu.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All day.
Like that.
Okay, all day.
Yo, shout out to Japan for winning the B girl competition at the Olympics.
What do you think of that?
Dude, it was fresh. It was really
thought
cool
so.
to see on the international stage, and again, just highlighting Black culture again. It was awesome to see from where it started to where it's at now. So super proud to see that as a big hip hop fan, and just it was fun in general. A lot of people talk about the Australia one, but but
Okay, but can we talk about that? Can we talk about
yeah,
that? What are your thoughts?
we can absolutely talk about it.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's funny. The first, so I didn't. All I saw were clips, right? I only saw clips of. I still got to go back and watch the entire competition in its entirety, but I saw clips, and somebody sent me a clip about somebody needing some WD-40, and I was like, what is this?" So I was thinking in my head, I was like, was there not a tryout before
I kept thinking,
deciding who would
and
represent?
listen, like, could I get up there and do what the
Okay,
Australian woman did? No.
yeah, yeah,
So I acknowledge that.
good.
You know what I mean? She has heart to get up there and do her thing, right?
I was about to
However,
say the same thing. I agree
however,
with me.
however, I did wonder. I was like, this is the best that Australia had?
Yeah, it can't be.
Can't be, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's. I saw some stuff too where I think she's a professor or something outside of. I mean, she's got a remarkable career. Yeah, just like, man, was there not a fucking tryout? Jesus, man.
But that's part, yeah, that was the part where I was like, wow, like, you know,
Oh, I know.
but,
Oh,
but shouts to her for doing her thing and getting out there and not caring. Like, I couldn't
yeah.
do that. That's too
No,
much.
yeah, yeah. I say I'm gonna probably hurt myself trying to do it, but like you said,
Oh,
man, I was loving. I was cheering for logistics. So logistics I've been
me
following a long
too.
time from Team USA. And so that one, she was the one I really wanted to see. And she did amazing too. I thought
I
she
thought
was super
yeah.
dope. But yeah, Ami was pretty sick.
I
Japan was
didn't, yeah, Ami, I thought Ami was great, but I thought
yeah.
logistics, I don't see, I didn't understand the scoring too. Like, I don't understand how
Yeah,
they,
that
so,
too.
so I thought logistics should have moved on
Okay.
like further. Like, I didn't think, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She,
for sure. Yeah, so
I, that was
I
shock.
gotta go back and watch it. But did you watch
Yeah.
the actual segments on TV when they played,
The,
yeah, the
mhm.
breakdown? Oh, you did.
I watched the prelims and then I
Okay.
went back and I watched
Yeah.
the other parts. But yeah, I was shocked. I thought logistics was gonna make it all. I thought logistics and Ami would have gone.
Oh yeah,
I,
logistics is oh, I've seen her at like the Red Bull competitions
oh
videos.
yeah.
Yeah, and so hey, I'm upset too that hey, the Olympics is going back to LA
But
in
no
2020.
breakdancing.
I know. What the fuck, dude?
I
I
don't know
don't.
what I'm
It's like
wondering the
the
same
best
shit.
place to do it. What happened?
Yeah, like for me it's shocking. Like I was so disappointed. I was like, how can we petition this shit?
Yeah,
Because
so
like,
that's what I thought I was gonna see in the future. I was predicting that there might be a petition. What I didn't know too was that some events don't come back after that. There's like a selection by the city, and they make yeah. So I thought just if it was an Olympic sport, it'd be good. It'd be good. It still stayed.
yeah,
I didn't know there was an actual like yeah, selection process by the city that would be hosting.
that's a bummer. Like I mean,
Yeah, I
oh,
was super bummed to see that. I thought that was just like some bum email, some fake news, but I guess that's heard. Yeah. So you
yeah.
heard the same thing then?
I heard the same
Ah,
thing.
weak.
I know. So because I was like, how are they not gonna have this in LA? It's such LA is such the perfect place for it.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna be wicked. That'd be dope if you like DJ for them too.
Oh, dude, it's hard. It's hard to DJ for breaking battles.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, just like at the venues, like at Olympic
oh,
Village.
listen, I'm manifesting that right now. I want
Yeah,
to
you
DJ.
need to.
Like, I'm like
Yeah,
manifesting the hell out of that shit right now. Like I want to DJ at the Olympics.
I
Like,
know. Talking in existence. I
oh,
do
I
that all
see
the
it.
time. Yeah,
Yes,
I believe in manifesting too. Yeah.
I do too. So what do you
Yeah.
do to like what do you focus on for manifestation? Like,
I just have to say it and believe it, right? So I'll think it, but then I will go as far as even just writing it so I can see it, or just
mm,
start talking into existence with people. If I tell people, then it almost like forces me to even go fight for it even more. So,
Mm.
so
I
I
love
talk it in that sense. I still say it like humbly, but I'll mention
yeah,
like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm hoping
yeah,
for,
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But yeah, so yeah, I
yeah.
believe it. I think it's good. Yeah, it's good to
I do
give yourself that
I
self
like
belief. Yeah,
hell yeah. Like I manifest the hell out of like and ever since I started on that
yeah, yeah,
journey. And then just even working my manifestations to get clearer and clearer and clearer, not just
yeah.
like, "Oh, I'd like bigger gigs," you know?
Oh,
I speak more into existence, like, I want gigs that are aligned with where I stand socially, you know?
nice.
I want gigs where I can X, Y, and Z, you know? And I put that into existence. So, yeah, definitely, I've been like, "I'm gonna spin at the Olympics. I'm going to, wherever I want to be."
Yeah,
It's like you said, I speak it into existence and I start to visualize it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. I think it's super important. Right?
I think so
Drive.
too.
Yeah, so
Humbly.
I hope I want to go. So that's the plan. 2028. I'd like to go see. I've never been to the Summer Olympics. I'd like to go. It's awesome. 1984 they did the Olympics in LA, and now it's back
They did.
for 2028. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
they
I'm gonna
handed
go.
they handed it over, in fact, today,
All
I
right.
watched them hand the Olympic flag over to Mayor Bass, and she was in Paris, and she was
Oh, that's so dope.
at the closing ceremonies,
Yeah, yeah.
they transition it to the next host city, and so
Was
Mayor Bass.
the Mayor Bass was in Paris then, or
Mhm,
what?
mhm,
Dang,
mhm,
that's super cool. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, she was on, like, I mean, she waved the flag,
Wow.
yeah, right? And that's where I'm just too, Romello, where it's just like, man, like I was part of the team that
Yeah.
helped, like just so proud, right? Like of
Yeah,
her and what
absolutely.
she's
Yeah,
done.
and
And
even you. I mean, your resume is very storied, and yeah, it's just been really we're
yeah.
proud of the work that you've done and everything that you
And
have accomplished. It's amazing for sure.
who would have known? Like that's what I tell myself, like who would have known? Like so my thing is always like to keep dreaming big, like I'm not ready to hang it up yet, right?
Yeah,
So
lots of
oh
luck.
yeah. Yeah, so, like, to keep dreaming big, to keep thinking about what I wanna do next, what kinda gigs I'd like to see, and then, like you said, speaking that shit into existence.
Yeah, I love it, and I love everything that you've done. And it just again, it's so awesome to follow your career in terms of DJing. I'm cheering you on from Hawaii or wherever I'm at, and I
Hey,
look forward to coming to see you in 2028 for the Olympics, so I can pick up my
let's do it.
mixtape finally. But I'm gonna try to come see you in February too when you're spinning out there when I'm over there,
Yeah, you have
over
to let me
in
know
your
when
neck of
you're
the
in town.
woods. I
I wanna
will. I'll
definitely
keep in touch. But thank you
I think
again. What's that?
no,
Go ahead.
thank you, thank you. No, I just wanna thank you for creating this space.
Oh,
I think connection is so important. And I think, just the fact that you and I are able to connect so easily
yeah,
after how many years, like that doesn't happen, often. So I just want
yeah.
to give you your flowers for all that you're doing. Like I'm so proud of you of everything that you
Thank
do.
you.
Like, you're still making music, you're putting your shit on wax, which
Yeah,
blows my
yeah.
mind. That's like so dope. You know what I mean? And your music is so good. That's the
Oh,
thing too.
thank you.
It's not just like, you know what I'm
Not
saying?
just
Like your
because I'm your
music is like
friend, right?
nice,
It's not
classic,
because I'm
so
your
good.
friend, huh?
No, no,
Just kidding. I'm
I
just
would not
kidding.
be telling you that. I'm hella picky about music. I'd be like, you know, but you know, but I'd be like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's not, it's cool.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm. But I just want to like just give you your flowers
Hey,
too
I
for
appreciate it.
keeping in space and like having these interviews and having
Yeah,
so that we all can see how different creatives are moving their way through music. Like
yeah.
it's
Thank
powerful,
you.
it's storytelling, and you're
Yeah.
giving people, you're amplifying people's stories. So,
I love it.
I see you too. It goes both ways.
Yeah, thank you
So
so much. Yeah, so we definitely got to connect again soon. I hope to see you in February. But I
yeah.
really look forward to sharing your story. Are there any final words that you want to say before we close this amazing session out?
Why don't you tell them about how you thought you had the bill at the last time I
Oh,
saw
that's
you?
funny, huh? That was dope. I should say that. Hey, yeah, but yeah, you came out to Hawaii, hung out, and man, and I was hosting, or at least I thought I was hosting, right? We went out, took you to a cool spot with the family, and then I try to be super. I don't know. I still don't know when you like did that funky maneuver, man. Like I try to do that for my guest, Rob, pay for the meal. I went ahead and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom," and I tried to go find the dude. So I said, "Hey, here's my credit card. Don't let her pay. I'm gonna take care of it." And then he said, "You had the meal." I was like, "What the heck?" So I don't know what you did. I don't know if you like threw it at him like a ninja star,
I
or
did. I was like,
like you
no,
like winked at him, or I don't know what you did, but you beat me to
but
it. And
the funny shit is you're like, hey, like I'm hosting, you're in my hometown,
yeah,
like I
I
got you.
got
Like,
it.
you're on my treat. And I just looked at you, I was like,
Yeah,
okay. I was like,
like
yeah,
shut the
like
fuck up.
no, I didn't tell you anything. I was like, oh, thanks.
Thanks. And then I asked for and I asked for the check, right? And then he was like, she paid. What a shitty ass host he is. I bet you even the able guy, even the guy that like even the guy that told me, he was like, you're whack, man.
But you were
But
like,
I
and I was
still don't
like,
know. Yo, man, that was good. So I'll get you next time. I owe you. I owe you
no,
when I come, or next time you come back. Sure. We'll the ground. I got it. That was so funny though. Yeah. Thank you.
that was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best. But yeah, amazing again. Man, this was a fun session. I appreciate your time on a Sunday too.
Oh, I appreciate you
Busy.
back.
Yeah,
Thank you for making time for
absolutely.
me. Thank you for making time for me.
Yeah, and I can't wait to share this episode. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you again.
All right. Thanks, Romelo.